Hey, what is going on? Hopefully you're having a great day. Fat loss can be a confusing, frustrating thing just in general. And my hope today for you is you can understand the only 120 ways that you can lose fat. And I hope that this causes a lot of stress relief, a lot of, I don't have to do so many things. And so you can get the best results possible with the time that you have. You're probably watching this because you're a busy parent, you're a busy person, it's got a lot on their plate, working a lot of hours, don't have a lot of time to go to the gym and maybe do a lot of things that you see on socials where people are like, I did 2-a-days. I'm working out 5 days, 6 days a week. And you probably have work, you've got kids, you've got church, you've got a spouse, you've got all these other things. And so you really don't have the time to do that. Not that you don't want to, and maybe you could. Maybe you could have the time, but that's at the expense of slowing down your business, not spending much time with your kids, not spending any time with your spouse, and also eating boring, bland food. And if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't want that either. That's not what I do, and that's not what we do here at the Trailblazer Fitness Academy. So what today we're going to cover some things. I'm hoping to give you some anxiety relief. First thing we're going to cover is kind of breaking free of the noise. There's literally 0.012% of things that actually work out of the million or so things that is espoused and that's talked about in online. Number one. Number two is we're going to go from a scientific standpoint how we get these 120 things and how you can mishmash them. Okay. And then the third thing is the exact steps on how to make them useful for you. So again, I hope you find this very valuable, very tactical. With that being said, let's dive into the training. Now, how did I come up with these numbers of 1,000,000 and 120? Well, if you go online, you could see that there's a multitude of things you can do. Okay. There's a multitude of things you can do. You can do intermittent fasting. You could do more cardio. You could do eating less. You could do pills. You could do fasted stuff, fasting. You could do 5 meals a day, 3 meals a day, 2 meals. There's so many things you could do. Right? Even yesterday, I was like watching a video. There was a guy that blatantly said, eat this much, bang, for everybody. And the reality is, that's just not how the game works. It's not how it works. It's so much more individualized than that. And I think that's where a lot of people run into problems is they're trying to take a major approach as far as like, oh, this is just what to do and not understanding why or how to do it. So without further ado, let's start diving into the 6 things that you can do ultimately to lose fat and keep it off. Now, the big thing here is losing fat. Okay, I'm going to tell you why in just a little bit, but you could lose weight a heck of a lot faster than what I'm about to tell you. But I'm going to also preface saying, you don't want to do it the way that you don't want to do it. I promise. First thing that you can do, very simply, okay, is more activity. Oh gosh, let me get a different pen. This one's terrible. More activity. That's the way to do it. This comes in the form of steps. Okay, the average American walks between 2,000 and 4,000 steps per day. Okay, now that's an average of roughly 150 calories. Sweet. Now, if you were to walk more, let's say, and we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition and stuff. Let's say you burn, as an overarching standpoint, you burn 2,000 calories per day and you eat 2,000 calories per day. Okay, so when you subtract these together, you get 0. Okay, going on this road, let's say your activity is 100 and you're not losing, or activity you burn, you're walking 3K steps per day, and that's roughly 150 calories. Okay, if you ate the same exact stuff, but you walked the magical 10,000 steps per day, okay, that's roughly 500 calories. That means you're burning an extra, instead of it being 2,000, you're burning that 2,000, or you're burning, you're now burning 2,350 because we're only adding 350 because you were walking 150. Now you're 500, but you're still eating the same amount of food. That's 350 calorie burn. At the end of the month, that would be roughly 2 pounds and some change. So you'd be down, like it's like 2.5 pounds. So you'd be down somewhere in the ballpark in a month. That's 2.5 pounds. That means 30 pounds at the end of a year. Down 30 pounds. Not bad, just by being more active. Now you might be like, well, I have a sedentary job. I have, doing a lot of things where I can't move around a lot, and or I don't have the capacity to do that. That's fine. Use this in conjunction with other things. Hint, that might be part of the reason why you can get 120. Okay, so being more active, big deal, huge deal. In fact, I've had people lose over 100 pounds simply by just being more active, not exercising, which is kind of a bummer, but that's how the game works. I'm not here getting upset about it. I'm just telling you how the rules work, okay? Okay. Next one. So that's pretty significant in and of itself, would you say? Of like being able to burn that many calories just by walking more. Pretty cool. So we're going to keep that going. So this is plus, or I should say, yeah, plus an additional 350 calorie burn. Next one, okay, is more exercise. Now I delineate these two between the two, and I'm sorry, I'm using Canva, obviously, and so it's not my pen. If so my fingers on the page it starts drawing, so my handwriting looks terrible. But that's exercise, okay? So more exercise. What does that look like? Okay, more exercise could come in different things. It's not necessarily more time, but more efficient. Because so think of it like not doing more stuff, but being faster and or burning more calories in your exercise. Good example. Let's say right now you're doing a strict strength training-esque sort of program. In a 30, 40-minute workout, you're good if you burn 150 calories, okay? And let's say before, the baseline's all the low ones that we're using to get to that 2,000, because you have to accommodate for all these things within that number. Okay, so it's 150 calories in, let's say, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. In 45 minutes. That is roughly like 3.5 calories per minute, right? So you just divide them, okay? Now, let's say we did some, what you could do is if you had more time, you could just work out more, right? Instead for 45 minutes at 3.5 calories per minute, you could work out for an hour. And that's going to be an additional like 50 calories or so. Not bad, not bad at all. So you can do more time. In 60 minutes, that's plus 50 calories. But what if we could do better than that? What if we took the same 45 minutes and instead of burning 3.5 calories per minute, you did cardio? And cardio maybe burns 5 calories per minute. That puts you at 225 calories during that time. Oh, let me actually scooch this over towards 2. No. Okay. And then here's 225 for cardio. Not bad. Not bad at all. Could we do better than that? Yes. What if we did high intensity interval training? Did something like 30 seconds of a movement, followed by 30 seconds of another movement, followed by 30 seconds of another movement, followed by 30 seconds of another movement, and then 30 seconds of rest. Okay. And let's say we did that. That's 5 minutes of time. 4 minutes and 30 seconds of time. And let's say we did that 10 times. That gets us to that number there. Okay. And in those workouts, you can burn 7, 8 calories per minute. Let's say it's 8 calories per minute. Some of them are even 10 during some of those times, but let's say it's 8. Okay. 8 calories per minute, 45 minutes. That is 360 calories for high intensity. Actually, we call it heart training in my program. How the workouts are designed is called heart training, high energy active recovery training. Okay, so 360, pretty stellar. Again, if we take that same person, and we did this, by the way, like 3 times in a week, and you're working out 3 times in a week to get you to 1,200, okay, you're increasing your calorie output per time by 210 calories. It's pretty bum. That's pretty bum. So we're going to take all this stuff too. More exercise. This little area that does the erasing is pretty huge. Plus 210. Now, just in these two alone, that's going to give you 560 extra calories you're burning. So instead of burning 2,000, you're burning 2,560. Subtracting the 2,000 that you're eating. So obviously additional 560 calories. Look at that math. If that's not Common Core math, I don't know what is. It's just plain. Okay, so that results in a week, or in a month, that's over 4 pounds in a month. Now, instead of it being 0, which you're netting before, before you were at 32, now you're at 52 pounds in a year. Pretty cool. Is there more things we can do? Yes, there is. How cool is that? Okay, so let's take all this. I'm going to keep this here. More exercise. The next thing you can do is more thermic effect of food. What's this? How do we do this? I've never even heard of this. I know most people haven't, which is okay. Thermic effect of food, but everybody knows what it is. Okay. Thermic effect of food is the calories required to break down the food that you consume. So if you consume, as an example, mostly sugary stuff, mostly stuff that's processed not in the way of like processed bad. Processed means in a state that you can absorb it easily. This is stuff like potatoes, like fried foods, like protein powders. What else? Powdery anything. It's that way, not because the big bad people are terrible, kind of. I mean, they do it partially for that, but they also do it because it stays shelf life longer. It's easy to digest, all these things. Now, the problem with it being easy to digest is that you don't really feel the fullness of those calories, which is why when someone goes, I don't know why I'm not losing weight, and we put them on an ingredient-based diet, as in we don't eat products, we eat ingredients, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so stuffed. It's like, yeah, this is what feeling full feels like when your body has all the stuff that it has to actually break down. Has to actually break this stuff down. When you have all this stuff that's like fried and no fiber and all these things, not that it's terrible, it just means you don't break it down. You don't feel the fullness of it, right? And so it's easy when people gain weight and fat doing that way, right? But more thermic effect of food. Now, let's say you're somebody, I don't know if anybody in my program just starts out who eats enough protein for the day. Like that's not even close. They're pretty far off. Okay. So let's say we get you from not eating enough protein to eating more protein. And we'll use that same 2,000 calorie diet. By simply eating enough protein, you go from like burning 3% of those calories that you consume in your body. Okay. Not from the food, but just your body uses 3% of the energy from those calories to break down the food. There we go. It goes from that to roughly 7. So at 2,000 calories, math would say you're at roughly 60. Right, 3% of 2,000 is 60. Okay. Now if we go to 7, you go to roughly 140. Oh snap! What is this doing for us? Well, if we add this to this mix here, this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. Yep. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 700 calories. So you add that 2,000. We're adding 700 to it, making it 2,700. Subtract the 2,000 we're eating, leaves us 700. Remember Common Core math. Now, in doing just this, okay, this here results in roughly 4.5 pounds per month, about 1.5 pounds per week. Actually, 6 pounds in a month. Goodness sakes, about 1.5 pounds of fat per week that you're losing. 6 pounds in a month. That, in and of itself, at the end of 12 months, 6 times 12 is 72 pounds. Holy smokes. When was the last time you're 72 pounds down? Friggin' A, right? If you have that, it's pretty remarkable, some of these things. But we're not even done yet. How cool is that? We've got 2 more. Okay, next one. Oopsie. Next one. This is kind of the hardest one to explain, so stick with me here. I shouldn't say hardest one to explain, but more muscle, the hardest one to get to, more muscle. Okay, more muscle. More muscle has you burning more calories. Okay, so now the studies show on this, it's kind of funky, but the studies show per pound of muscle that you gain about, you burn about 10 more calories per day. Okay, per day. And so if you gain 5 pounds of muscle, it's extra 50 calories per day. Why is that? Well, muscle is what's called metabolic tissue. Fat is non-metabolic tissue. Per pound of fat, you burn about 2.2 calories per day, which is not a bunch. For muscle, it's 10. Now, there's also something else with muscle that's more, maybe is more appealing to you, although it should already be appealing in and of itself. 1 pound of muscle results in you losing roughly a pound of fat per year more than somebody else who doesn't have that pound. But there's also some other things. When it comes to exercising, if you have more muscle, there's a higher likelihood, or you have, I should say, a higher capacity to be able to lift heavier weights. Lifting heavier weights burns more calories than lifting not a lot of weight, okay? Because you're damaging the muscle even more. You're straining your nervous system even more. You're able to work out harder, longer, which increases your exercise, which increases those 9 to 10 calories. You can go higher than that, which is really cool, okay? But not only that, you're able to actually hit more steps per day because you're not so winded, you're not so tired. And you're more energy. There's so many bonuses to it. So some studies show, and I'm not really sure on this, I'll use a low number, okay? Some studies show that per pound of muscle that you gain, you actually lose and burn 50 more calories, 50 more calories per day from secondary causes. So on the muscle, on the increasing your metabolism, just at rest, it's 10. But by you being able to have more muscle to do more things, it results in 50 more calories more per pound, okay? So let's say, just for fun, 5 pounds of muscle. Now this thing, 5 pounds of muscle, for most of you watching this, unless you're in your 20s, early 30s, you're a guy, you're taking testosterone, or some other supplementation that helps with growth hormone production and things like this. Again, no shame, nothing like that. If you're not doing that, 5 pounds of muscle is going to take I shouldn't say significant. It's going to take some time, right? But luckily, we're going to be here for a while on Earth, so you might as well stick to your health and fitness goals for longer than just a season, probably for the rest of your life, right? So let's say it takes you a year to do that, okay? But it's a year, okay. What does that result in? That results in, let's say, 5 pounds of muscle, and let's not use the 50. Let's say we just add an extra 10 calories per day on top of the 10, so it's 20. So that's an extra 100 calories. So before it was 0, now it's an extra 100. So we're going to add 100 to this list over here. So we were at 700 a minute ago. We're at 800 now. 800 times 7 is 560, which is about a pound. Gosh, what is that? It's just over a pound and a half. Okay, we'll call it 1.7 pounds. 1.7 pounds per month. 4 months in a week is 6.8 pounds. 6.8 times 12 is, gosh, I can do this, roughly, I want to say it's roughly 77-ish, 76 pounds of fat that you're losing at the end of the year. Pretty stellar. Pretty stellar if I don't say so myself. Actually, 74 plus 12, 88, 86, because it's an extra pound per month, roughly. So pretty bomb if I don't say so myself, just doing that. But there's one more thing you can do. Oh my gosh. So there's 5 things here. The next one. Less food. Okay. Eating less overall calories. Now, we're not even going to do much, but let's say you eat 200 calories less. So you're at 2,000 now, which is fine. Let's say you just lose 2,000, eat 200 calories less. So you're at 1,800. Let's do all our big math. Okay. So before you're at 2,000, we're going to add up all these things because we're doing this in addition to what we were doing before. That puts us at 2,800 calories. Now, instead of eating 2,000 calories per day, we're going to eat 1,800. Still a nice amount of calories to eat. Not bad at all. That results in a 1,000 calorie deficit. Meaning, calorie deficit is not a word too, by the way. It's just a descriptor of what's happening. So calories that you burn calories that you eat. You're eating in a deficit of what you consume, of what you burn. So you eat in a deficit of what you burn. Another way of saying it too, if you wanted to, is you are in a output surplus because you are burning more calories than what you eat. You see how it's just a descriptor. It's not actually a calorie deficit. It's not a thing. Because I know it's something we're like, well, I know I've heard calorie deficits, like, yeah, but that seems like it's like saying Mount Rushmore or like Dodge Viper or like Disneyland. It's like, it's not a thing. It's just like a description. Okay. Don't want to beat a dead horse. So we got 1,000 calories here. Dang it. See what I'm saying? Got to use my pen to do this. Okay. So 1,000 calorie deficit. That results in you losing 2 pounds of fat per week. That results in you losing 104 pounds of fat in a year. When was the last time you're 104 pounds of fat down? Friggin' A. Some of you guys evaporate if that happened. Yeah. So these are the things, and this is the process in which you can do to lose fat. Now, how do I get to 120? You can use any combination of these. You can do more activity and nothing else. You can do more activity and more exercise and nothing else. You can do more activity and thermic effective food and nothing else. You can just eat more protein and nothing else, right? It just depends on the pace that you want to do, that you want to lose. So if you're like, I want to be more active, that's my big key. Cool, be more active. What about meal timing? Meal timing doesn't matter. Notice the 2,000 or 1,800 calories, whatever it is. If it's 1,800, if you eat 3 meals or 6 meals a day at 300 calories each, and it's the same quantity of food and macronutrients, protein, fats, carbs, fiber, and alcohol, the thermic effect of food, which is supposedly what keeps your metabolism going, is the same. There's nothing different. Nothing different at all. Okay. What if you did exercise fasted or not fasted? Doesn't matter because you just need exercise. But what if I don't eat beforehand? I'm going to use fat as energy. Yeah, likely the whole time you're going to use fat as energy for the most part, right? Some parts you're not. If you're doing strength training, you're going to use some sugar that's in the cell, but your body readily converts fat to sugar so they can use, or a sugar-like compound to be able to use it for your strength training. But what about fasted cardio? Yep, when you're below your lactate threshold, you're going to use fat as energy the entire time because your body's able to breathe oxygen in order to use it. Your body doesn't, like, unlike what most people might say, is that your body actually prioritizes fat as energy. It wants to use that because it's readily available, right? And it might have to go through, if you're doing high intensity stuff like the hard style training, yeah, you're going to burn through sugar for sure. But that sugar then, after it's gone, your body's going to then break down fat through lipolysis to use and to create a sugar-like compound to be able to sustain exercise when you're doing high intensity stuff, right? More muscle, how do you do that? Do you have to do that bulking? Do you have to do that in the morning, in the evening, meal here, meal there, protein shake here, BCAAs, taking this supplement to burn fat? Doesn't matter. You have to eat in a surplus. You have to do the 3 things to build muscle. You have to be go to muscular failure, feel the burn, and get a pump. You do those 3 things, you're going to get there. If you do 2 of the 3 things, you're going to get there. And you have to eat in a surplus in order to do that too. So you're likely going to get a little bit fatter during that time. And so all these things are used whenever it needs to in the season that you're in. Burning more muscle is likely not in a season of fat loss, but having more muscle results in you losing fat, right? Here's another way to look at this entire thing. If you're like, yeah, but I don't want to just do these things for fat loss. I want to have a more bigger meaning than that. I just don't want everything to deal with fat loss. And I freaking get that 100%. Look at it like this. By doing these things here, you're able to eat more food at maintenance. So by you being more active, going from 3,000 steps per day on average to 10,000 steps per day on average, you can eat 350 more calories of food and maintain where you're at. This is why in the program, let me scroll down a little bit here. This is why in the program, I teach something called the hierarchy of body transformation, okay? Not going to get into all of it here because I got other videos on that. If you want to watch them, you can find them on my YouTube. But the bottom of this, it's called lifestyle. The most important part of the pyramid is lifestyle. Because if you want to lose fat for a season, cool, do these things, lose the fat, gain it back because you're only doing it for fat loss. But if you do these things, like for me, my chair in my office, for the most part, literally just has my bag and my jacket on it right now. Oops. I don't sit down the majority of the day, not because I want to be cool, but because you know what's really cool? Eating more food, right? And by me walking around more, I'm at, man, like 8,000 steps already for the day, just by walking around, just by doing my stuff standing versus sitting. Can you do that at work? Probably. You don't even have to get a walking pad, just kind of pace back and forth, right? Thermic effective food. Can you add more protein to your diet? Yes, you can. You're like, but I can't. Yes, you can. Unless you have a kidney problem, you can add more protein to your diet. But I can't eat less food. Yes, you can. If I get too starving, don't take off that much. Stop eating products. Eat more ingredients. Eat more vegetables. Doing those things will help you fill your gut full of more stuff so you're not as hungry. You can. It might just be that you don't know how. And if you don't know how, if you see these things, like I see what you're saying, Chris, I just don't know how to implement them. Okay. The Trailblazer Fitness Academy, we teach you implementing these. I show you how to do it. I do it for you. I go, here's what we're going to do. You're going to hit these step goals to start. Because maybe for you, you're hitting 3,000 steps per day and you're like, I see 3. I don't think I can hit 10 today. Cool. Can we make progress? Can you go from 3 to 5? Right. And then I hold you to the feet to the fire. You're hitting that 5 every single day. Exercise. Let's say you're not exercising right now. Cool. You can do 3 times per week. But I can't do 3 times per week. They're 30 minutes each. It's less than 2% of the day. You can do it. You can find it 3 days a week. And just holding your feet to the fire, making sure you do it, right? Because in the beginning, what you need is you need some external accountability so that it becomes a habit. And then eventually that external accountability becomes internal accountability. And you're able to start doing it on your own, which is the important thing. Once we set this thing in motion, it just goes and goes and goes. And eventually, you'll need a coach again, right? Unlike other programs where they have you do the stuff to say, hey, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, and that's it, not teaching you anything. You're just going to go and do it. You become a slave to the paper. And that's not how we do things here. With that being said, if you want to apply for the program, all you got to do is DM me results. We'll go over it together. We'll see if it's the right fit, and we'll get you started. In fact, we might have something pretty cool for you to get started now instead of waiting to the beginning of the year. I'm talking like getting some free stuff. Okay. That being said, DM me results if you want to join in. Have a freaking awesome day. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please make sure you like, comment, do all the things that you need to help this thing get out to more people. And I will talk to you all soon.